All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Francis, Game Marketing Director here at Become, accompanied by my faithful Ollie, always there to help me when we release some patch. Thank you to all the
Hello.
faithful that are here every week. It's been a while, so let's not do a whole presentation about ourselves. It's been like what, at least
A week.
five to six times we've been together on a stream. So let's dive ahead. I'll start a run, and then we can discuss about what we did for this patch and every little surprises that are coming. So hopefully that'll be fun. I'm sorry I haven't played. I don't know if Mouse is watching. I told him like, hey, I'll be further along. I didn't have no time this week. I think I've played like 1 hour or two. I couldn't do
Yeah,
anymore.
Vaughn and Mouse are here.
Yeah, Mighty, I found my problem. I had a duplication of sound in our tool settings for Streamlabs, but now it should be fixed. So no issues there. All right, so Ollie, you want to dive in the updates that we did last week?
No. Uh, all right. I mean, I'm sure everybody is aware by now that we've added a dash, which is more of a. I know there's been some commenting on that, and to be clear, it's not a physical dash. It is technically a teleportation. It's translocate.
I'll try to
So
spam
it
it.
is a very
Yeah.
short range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it is a very short range teleportation that requires line of sight. That is why you cannot teleport, through walls, because it does require line of sight. Just like if it would be, an actual Pathfinder abilities that requires line of sight, same thing. You cannot go through walls, you cannot go through doors, but you can go through enemies technically because you still have line of sight past
Yeah.
them unless they actually block. But anyway, so you have that. Um, the goal of having that is to help people have a slightly easier time with dodging things that they had a hard time with, to be able to a bit more safely go through hordes of enemies and stuff like that. But it is not to make the game an easy mode, and it is not to make the game an action game either. So I know I've seen the comment of, oh, why don't we make it half a second cooldown? Because that's not the goal here. So I just want to clarify
Yeah, it
that.
would be a bit powerful.
It is an additional tool, but right now it's at an 8-second cooldown.
Yeah.
Perhaps we're going to add progression to it that might lower that cooldown further, or add charges. We're going to see what we do with it in the future. But for now, it's going to stay at 8 seconds. And
Yeah,
I think it's
from what
already.
I've heard, the tweaks that are asked mostly by some people that are in endgame is higher difficulty. It feels a lot less useful than in the early ones, where there's a lot less enemies. But that makes sense, right? It's still a work in progress. It's a V1, so.
Yeah. Hyper mode is new. I think they're asking if you're playing hyper mode. It
Yes,
does look
I'm
like
playing.
it.
Yeah, I'm playing in hyper mode.
Yeah, it
The
does
game
look
feels
like
really
it.
good in hyper mode, I would say.
Hyper mode is another new thing that came out the week before.
Yeah, just last week.
And then we have the potion belt that is also new. The goal with the potion belt is to allow you to save one health potion, one quickness potion, and one oak potion, and carry them around so you can use them at a later time. It is especially useful for boss fights, because that way you can start a boss fight with already a health potion.
Yeah.
And now you can bring your quickness and oak potion. So if a fight gives you a hard time, you can have, dodge chance, cooldown reduction, and a bit more movement speed as well. And on the other side, you could have armor, you could have damage reflection. I'm still curious to know if the damage reflection is actually useful against bosses, or if bosses just hurt you too much versus their health pool. So I'm actually curious to hear you guys about that. Guys and girls, sorry, everyone.
Yeah,
so
there's hopeful Irog that has the warrior can teleport with weird eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, you can explain it.
It is indeed a power of the medallion. So your medallion is already a medallion that gives you uh, some teleportation powers, to go in and out of Gallowspire, and then when you're using Translocate, you're basically tapping into that power to have a short burst of teleportation. That is the lore reason behind it.
Makes
And I
sense.
mean, it is a very powerful shard that's in your medallion, so it's not like you're just gonna tap out the battery.
Guys, gals, non-binary pals. All right. Sorry, Miss Roy. You're right. We're trying our best. um, but yeah, what I feel like the where we're going is really fun. Like you said, the translocation mechanic. It's not still in 2E, right? It'll be implemented. Is that like something that we add a bit before Pathfinder released it officially, or?
You mean Translocate?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's currently similar spells, but Translocate itself, at least as far as I'm aware, is not currently in the Pathfinder tabletop, but it is coming with the revised edition.
Okay.
And we were giving the go ahead by Paizo themselves to use that spell specifically.
Nice.
Obviously, we are changing. We are changing it to accommodate the game. For example, the actual Translocate spell, you won't be able to bring somebody with you, but for us, you have to because
Yeah,
you
it's
have
a
a companion.
mechanic, right?
Yeah. Mighty Mouse has a very interesting question for people that don't know anything about the lore of Pathfinder or D&D. Where's the best place? Oh, okay. That's good, Yoda. That's a good explanation. That's not the version that I saw, but anyways, we'll see what actually we get at the end of the year. I'm as interested, as you guys. As far as finding information, yes, wiki is good. You can go to Archives of Netis if you want to have a look at what the actual tabletop is like without having to buy a book. It's a really good resource website. Of course, you can get the book. You can play the other video games of Pathfinder as well, although that would be Pathfinder First Edition, but it would still give you some lore. But yeah, the wiki is a really good place because it talks about what's been going on with most important characters and stuff like that.
And
There's
the
not
subreddit too. Yeah, there's subreddit too. That people are active and people ask a lot of questions, so you can read there.
I'm not a big Reddit person, but I believe you.
It's a great community if you want to be involved in.
Yeah. As far as the other one, well, there's equivalent to Archive of Netis for the other game. The game that shall not be named on stream.
Oh, it's Yoda. Yoda is Mark. he has it already.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, then you can answer those questions.
That's a great way.
And fair enough. I mean, if you want to give additional information on those things, feel free because I don't know what I actually can and cannot share. So cool. But yeah, Translocate has been super useful. Did I just? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What are you excited in the late? What do you prefer from the latest patch?
Honestly, Translocate is actually really nice when I don't forget to use it.
Yeah.
Right. I think the potion has been the biggest thing for me, and like being able to carry a health potion has actually saved my life. Because you go around, you're full health, yay, you go into the next floor, everything is going well, and then everything is not going well. And there's no potions dropping, but you have one on yourself. There you go. So
yeah,
it's been really useful.
I feel also more involved though, like having that many more buttons to play with. Feels great. Feels really, really great.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And we've added a lot of little quality of life things like being able to, without enabling skip animations, you can actually just skip the die roll just through pressing A or spacebar now. So that's also been, a good little addition. Um, I personally see, and I'm sure a lot of people are seeing it as well, but I really see the difference with the. So we increase the chance, the odds to get better rarities when you level up, and even when you open chest, and that's been very obvious,
Yeah.
which is good. But it's still honestly impossible unless you're a wizard and you have an hour to spend re-rolling things. It's still impossible to max out everything, and that's intended. So optimally, you should be able to max out half your things.
Mighty Mouse has a good comment. Before the belt, I found that one of the necessary passive on higher difficulty was Potion Finder, uh, and now it feels like
Yeah,
it's still great because there are a lot of potions that saves your life. But he's right on the that like that potion belt really saves you sometimes whenever you play.
I agree. I agree, and it's fun to be able to press buttons.
Yes, and onto
Speaking,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I was wondering like, do you want to go right to the upcoming things that we are working
Yeah,
on?
exactly. That's exactly the segue I was making. Speaking of button pressing,
Yeah.
we do have more things coming this month. I'm not. I can't really say when exactly this month. Might be next week. Might be the week after that. But we have a lot of things coming. And one of the big thing that is coming, and keep in mind, it cannot work for all attacks, but we are implementing it in, allowing it for the attacks with which it works. We are adding manual aiming to the game.
That is
Yay,
awesome.
cue
That is,
applause.
I, I'm so involved when I played. I was like in my mind, yes, it's really cool, but I'm actually live, so I have to say it. Yeah,
So
aiming will feel really great.
yes, I mean I've already played with it, with an internal build, and it does make a really big difference, especially against bosses. And yes, I did try the bow. The bow is receiving a small nerf to it because otherwise bow is becoming quite literally a shotgun, right? Because now you can aim it at the face of enemies.
Which is good.
Um, so yeah, we're doing very little changes with adding the aiming. We're only changing two things. You guys will see what those are. And I think the changes are fair. I don't think I don't think we are nerfing anything to the ground. It's just making some adjustments.
Hmm.
The rest we're not touching for now. So even though you're going to be able to aim, your spells and stuff like that, for now we're not touching the power of spells. We're going to see how it goes. But you will be able to switch between aiming and not aiming, like on the go. You're not going to have to toggle or enable anything. It's all about, are you putting in a manual aiming input or no? If
Yeah,
you are,
yeah,
it's going to use the direction you're inputting. If you're not, it's just going to use the current behavior the attack has.
which is good because not everyone wants the aim mechanic. If you want to like
Exactly.
a
And you don't
chiller
necessarily want
experience,
to aim every single attack
yeah,
either.
exactly. But that's really really great. I feel like all the changes that we're implementing are
Mm-hmm.
really like redefining the game and how the experience feels. I'm really curious about like I see a lot of positive feedback on it, but like if anyone wants to comment on how it could change their game or how they feel it would improve it, that would be good too.
So a big difference between being able to aim manually and not is each attack follows, we have a few different rules that they can follow, so each of them follow one of those specific rules.
Hmm.
Those rules are usually something like, the closest enemy, or simply an enemy within range, or maybe it's just a direction, depending on the ability. That has already evolved over time. A good example of this is Flame Vortex used to be simply in a direction. It
Yeah,
didn't care if there was an enemy or not. It just chose a random direction. Now the current Flame Vortex goes toward a random enemy around you. So it will always pick a direction that at the time of spawning the spell, there's going to be at least one enemy there. So
nice.
that has changed.
Yeah.
Now, with manual aiming, what it means is instead of, let's say you have a bunch of enemies around you, and one specific area has 30 enemies versus the rest has like one, two, three enemies, scattered all over.
Mm-hmm.
The flame vortex could go toward any of those groups, and you have no control over it. Now that you're aiming, you can on purpose aim toward the group of 30 enemies, and your flame vortex is just going to go and swallow them all. So that's going to make a big difference with all the spells like that. I say all the spells because yes, it does affect all attacks. Wizard is a big winner of aiming because Wizard is very AoE heavy.
Yeah.
So being able to choose where you throw your fireball, your lightning bolt, your flame vortex is big.
But there's a great point though. A fully hero in the chat. Wait, so will the nerf then make the bow worse if it get nerfs, but we don't aim?
A little bit, but you're only going to notice it if you normally would max it. Because I did not decrease the damage, I did not decrease the minimum number of arrows. It's only the max number of arrows that are getting decreased, and I can tell you, it's getting decreased from 15 to 12. So you're just
it's not,
losing
it's not...
three projectiles at the end of the upgrade. So it's not that much.
Yeah.
It's just something had to be done, and I did the one with the least impact for all the classes.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind that the reason why bow is so good is, especially on rogue, is when you have a lot of strength. Your bow deals, I don't know, 200 damage per arrow, for example, and then on top of that you sneak attack, on top of that you crit, and then on top of that you apply damage, and you can do that like 15 times. That's when it was getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a small nerf because the goal is not to kill any builds or anything like that. It's just a small nerf to make sure that it does not get too much out of hand. I can tell you already the other nerf, and rogues, please don't boo me too hard. It was too strong. The max value of enchanted shots got lowered from 25% to 20%.
I didn't look at my health and I died. And I had my potions. What'd I do? I'm reading comments and trying to listen to you, Ollie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, playing and doing this at the same time is not the best thing. Just to quiet down a bit the booze for enchanted shots. Enchanted shots bonus is to the whole attack per enemy that you go through, right? So even at 20%, if you go through 10 enemies, that's 200% damage your attack is receiving.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Instead of 250.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it sounds like a big nerf, but it was just way too good. Now it's just too good. And that's going to be it on the nerf side for now. And we're going to monitor what happens with the playtest. Maybe by the time it goes live, there's going to be a few additional nerfs as well, maybe even a few additional buffs. Who knows? We're going to see with the playtest that's going to happen, starting probably Friday until sometime next week. And we're going to see what kind of feedback we receive using the aiming and, any other new changes.
Mm-hmm.
About buffs for fighter, thoughts on the strength of the character at the moment. Well, of course, aiming is also going to help fighter and rogue, a little bit as well. One big change to the fighter, at least that I personally like, is you can now aim your hammer. So your hammer, instead of going, toward a random target around you, you can say, oh, I want to go on that side of me because that's where the elite is, for example. You're also going to be able to aim your lance without having to do it in front of you. So you can aim your lance behind you or on the side of you if you want. Bastard sword, you can't because we don't have an animation for you to swing next to you. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want the visual feedback to just not work with what's happening. So Bastard Sword is still just a frontal attack. But for the rogue dagger, you're going to be able to aim the dagger, in the direction that you want. Gauntlet, you're going to be able to aim it where you want as well. Crossbow, you'll be able to aim it where you want as well. So they also gain something from the aiming. As far as the strength of the fighter itself, we really need to establish what is wrong with the fighter versus the two other classes, because fighter is ultimately supposed to have less damage than the wizard and the rogue, but get toughness and survivability in exchange. If that's not the case, then there's a problem. And if the fighter does not deal enough damage to be able to clear the highest difficulty, that's also a problem. So any feedback you guys have on fighter play, especially at higher levels, because I know fighter doesn't really have that much of a hard time on normal, on adventure difficulty. But if you guys have experience, guys, girls, and non-binary, sorry, uh, I've experienced playing fighter on legendary and mythic. Please give feedback on
Mhm.
Discord. Tag me to it to make sure that I actually know that you added it, because I check Discord maybe once or twice per day, not not every hour.
Unlike me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so just tag me and I'll have a look and we can start a discussion, because I really want to know from the fighter players or from people that play all three classes what you feel is the weakest part of the fighter, and then we can discuss what can be done, and I can have a look at the numbers on my side and see what kind of tweaks that I can easily do so we can test it out. And
Yeah,
again,
because even
um,
myself, I tend to pick the fighter less than the other classes.
yeah, I like the fantasy. I like the idea of the fighter, but I agree the execution is not always good. Um, but there's only a very fine line between something that is not good enough and something that is too good.
Yeah.
So balancing is quite literally a balancing act, right? You're on the tightrope between too good and not good enough, and you're
Hmm.
trying to get to the middle.
Um, I also wanted to talk about like the I feel one is the biggest thing because I like collecting stuff.
Hmm.
So I wanted to talk about that change. I'll let you introduce it and talk a bit about it.
Okay. We are adding collectibles. We are adding a card collection specifically. And another thing that I won't say just yet, but we're adding a card collection of various items and enemies found in Pathfinder. Most of them are found in our game as well, but a few of them are just there for flavor's sake. And you're going to be able to find those cards throughout floors. So it's going to give you an additional objective on your floors to find the bookshelves that may or may not contain a card. And then when you find the card, it's going to add it to your collection. You're going to be able to view your collection. We're going to have uh, images coming from Paizo directly. So it's artworks from Paizo. And we have those images. We're going to add some flavor text. We're going to tell you the name of the card. We're going to tell you where you can find it, if anywhere. And also each of the cards are going to give you a very small permanent bonus. An
That is sweet.
example I can give you, and again, all numbers might or may not change due to balancing. We'll see. But for now, let's say you find the card of plate armor. Well, when you find that card, it's going to add it to your collection, and it's going to give you a permanent 0.25 armor bonus. So if you find four cards like this, you have one extra armor at all times. They're meant to just be small bonuses. They're not meant to be significant bonuses. It is a card collection to begin with. We just wanted to give you all a small little stat bonus in addition. And then that's going to also give you achievements in the end. Once you complete each individual collections, you're going to get an achievement. And likely we're going to add an achievement once you complete all of them as well.
And it's gonna be a permanent upgrade, right?
Yes, it's going to be a permanent meta upgrade as long as you
That's
don't
so
delete your
cool.
collection, right?
I
Forever account
yeah,
wide throughout all three classes, or four or five if we ever add some.
that is so neat. That is really awesome for me. Like that's a part of the lore that I'm so happy that we're gonna explore. It's super fun. I saw one like a couple of cards and the art, like it looks good. It brings a lot of lore and stuff
Yeah,
that wasn't there before.
for Pathfinder players, they're the cards from the decks that Paizo made some time ago.
Whoa.
So people might have actually those decks. They're supposed to be physical decks. I've personally never seen them before, but I think it's really cool. Another thing we're adding. So there's a question. Any news to share on cosmetic customization? Yes, but we're not going into cosmetic of characters quite yet. Um, that is something we would definitely like to do in the future, but it is not a priority for right this moment. But it is something we will be looking into it. Yeah. What we are adding for now, and again, it is sometime this month. I can tell you if it's going to be in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. But before November, we are adding dice skins. So people will be able to unlock new skins for their dice, or their
That's
die.
neat. Yeah.
And we have a few different looks. We are talking about maybe doing the same as the card collection and giving player a small bonus when you unlock a specific dice. So it's not about using it; it's about when you unlock it.
Okay.
Unlocking those dice is going to be linked to achievements. So some existing achievements, we're going to be adding some new achievements as well, and basically obtaining that achievement may or may not, right, give you permanent attributes or permanent stats, the same way the card collection will, in addition to giving you that skin. one
Any
percent less chance of rolling. No, that's not the kind of bonus I'm talking about.
um is there any like any other customization in the work? Like I know not like maybe not close to now, but do you have
I cannot speak to that at the moment.
I was trying for everyone in the
Sorry,
chat. I was trying for everyone in the chat.
sorry. I will actually address that. Sacred +5 to dice roll is not something we can do. And the reason why it's not something we can do, because that would mean you would always get minimum 2 items, and very close to getting always 3 items, and that breaks the balance. So that's the reason why we cannot give bonus to dice. I still would like to add hero points that allows you to re-roll your dice. So that would be something, but again, it is not for the short term. It would be for the medium term.
Okay.
We can only do what we can do at a time, right?
100%.
I truly hope that our current players and our future players um, enjoy all the changes we're doing. We are hard at work at changing the game, updating the game every week. Uh, Obviously, we won't be able to forever update the game every week. Eventually, especially after early access is done, we probably will take more of a traditional approach of maybe bi-weekly or monthly update or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
for now,
Yeah, because
we
the production is rolling out new features every
yeah
week.
we are trying to fix the game, because we know it disappointed quite a few people. So we are trying to fix the game so people are no longer disappointed. We hope that people that did not like the game when it first released last month will revisit. Of course, if people don't want to, they don't want to. But we do hope that people will give us a chance and
Yeah,
will
the game
revisit
has
the game.
changed so much with how it functions,
Yes.
the balance, everything. Like the gameplay is completely different. Hopefully you're right and people will come revisit.
Yeah. We are also addressing a lot of optimization, bug fixing, all those things. And next week will likely be more about bug fixing and optimization than it will be about new features.
Yeah, because the
Maybe we'll be
collectibles
able.
and aiming will be like it's a bit longer to implement.
Yes. Aiming, perhaps, maybe, if the playtest goes really well, maybe we can have it next week. No promises, maybe. Otherwise, it will be the following week.
Did you say maybe or
I said maybe. I said maybe. Uh, and then yes, the card collection and the dice skin. will not be next week because we're still working on those. But they're coming soon. They're coming very soon. Um, trying to think what else.
That was a major thing. I are we exploring? I know there's a lot of questions on this for on Discord and even the Steam discussion
Mm-hmm.
uh, about the companion. Like any tweaks are going to be made on the companion in the near future, or
Yes, and I did talk about it in the past. Sorry. We are adding that companions are receiving 50% of the XP of the main character. I
nice,
don't remember when we're going to be adding that. I believe it's going to be in next week's update. I believe it's going to be in next week's update. And your companion are going to be receiving 50%. Yeah, Sacred is confirming it. So your companions are going to be receiving 50% of your XP. So you're going to be able to level a second class on the side
nice.
half as fast, basically.
And Sacred,
Uh,
any chance for a secondary attack or something, or
I don't say, yeah, Sacred is not aware of that. I can tell you, I'm not aware of that. Um,
I'm just digging. I'm trying.
yeah,
I'm trying.
it's a possibility, but it will not be this month.
Okay,
Um, we are we are working on, slowly working on multiplayer. So multiplayer will come, should come this year.
nice.
I mean, we only have 2 months and a half left. This not even 1 month and a half.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah,
No, two
one
months
and
and
a
a
half.
half.
Yeah,
2 months and a half
yeah,
left this year.
yeah.
Yeah, 2 months and a half left this year. Multiplayer should come this year. Having a second attack to companion is a bit more complicated for many reasons. So we'll see when and if we can actually do that. I'm not saying no. I'm saying when and if, right? Um, we are looking into ways of better enabling speedruns.
Okay.
I cannot give too many details yet because it's still under discussion and still being designed and stuff like that. But we are trying to open up, you know, a bit more freedom of progression. I'm just gonna tease it like
Oh,
that. I'm just gonna tease it like that.
oh.
Um, as far as adding character customization, not for now. Again, character customization is going to be through collections, so it's not really
Mm-hmm.
customization, right? But at the same time, you will be able to target farm missing cards, or just which cards you want first and stuff like that. Not cards will be able to be found everywhere, so that's going to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
It adds a kind of a quest, or it dictates where you should be grinding, or you know but as far as actual
No.
customization or additional customization, it's not going to be for just yet, and it's unlikely to be this year. Maybe, but unlikely.
Sacred saying that you're opening Pandora's box, and
You're not
Mighty
you're not
Mouse
allowed to go back on vacation.
and Mighty Mouse say we want hats.
Uh, fair enough. Hats are really complicated because we don't currently have them.
Yeah, just like
So
a
not
weird,
impossible,
a weird
but
layer. Just
yeah.
we want helms. Yeah, that would be fun. Ollie, I've died so many times now. But I think it covers a lot of the subject that we wanted to touch on. There's a lot of great things that are coming up.
Yeah.
Like we said, aiming, collectibles, XP for the companion, uh, tons of stuff that we have in mind, tons of stuff that we want to do in the near future. I don't know if anyone else has any questions for the upcoming patches or anything that you think should be added to the game. I know we discussed a lot of balance and possible future nerfs because the aiming is changing like the meta a bit of the game, I would say. So yeah, they're big changes, but I'm really looking forward to them.
I mean, yeah, Community is asking for stuff. We are doing what we can at the pace that we're able to. And if people keep giving feedback and we keep the discussion open, more changes are going to come.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't see any new question popping up. So Ollie, always a pleasure. If there's a big modification, like if there's something like aiming is there or anything big, like I'll bring you on the chat next week. If not,
Okay.
probably be like I'll be solo, or we'll see what the community ask for next week. Or if anyone wants Ollie too, like if we can bring him and and discuss stuff. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone in chat. Always nice to just chat with you and have our faithful every week to discuss the future of that game. So